WCTV studios. This is the award-winning Eyewitness News.
Certainly today is the day. Today is the day for those folks living in those areas to get out of harm's way, pack up their stuff and get out of harm's way. At this point in time, 23 parishes have declared a state of emergency.
Good evening. Tropical Storm Isaac is slowly making its way to the Gulf Coast.
From Florida to Louisiana, residents are bracing for the storm. Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Mike McCall is tracking Isaac. He joins us live from the Pinpoint Weather Center with an update. Mike?
Thanks very much, Andy and Angela. Yeah, we continue to watch this now. Some slight strengthening today, but as far as the impact on us, we haven't seen any major changes. Now, we will continue to watch the transition to perhaps to hurricane status. It's getting very close to that now with top winds of 70 miles per hour. We've seen some hints at an eye from time to time, but it still just has not happened. Therefore, it is still a tropical storm. Latest advisory just in from the National Hurricane Center, top winds now at 70. That's just below that 75 mile per hour threshold. And now the forecast has bumped it back up to perhaps a Category 2 as it makes landfall somewhere along the Louisiana coast. Now notice we are not in that cone of uncertainty anymore, but we are still east of the center. Now that means we will still feel some effects, but absolutely the worst effects will stay well to our west. We could still see some flooding from some occasionally heavy rainfall. We could still see some minor storm surge flooding along the coast. And with some of the bands that wrap around the system, we can still see that outside chance for an isolated tornado or two. The tropical storm warnings continue in effect, but mainly for the Gulf waters. You still could possibly get some tropical storm force winds along the coast in gusts, but we are not expecting those sustained types of conditions inland. Now, I'll detail how much rain we might get, and we'll also talk about what happens in the next few days coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Mike. Many residents along our coastal areas are heeding the warnings.
Franklin County officials have issued a mandatory evacuation. Eyewitness News reporter Jackie Slater kicks off our live team coverage from St. George Island. Jackie, what are conditions like there?
Yeah, you know, we got down here to St. George Island around 10 o'clock this morning, and the ride down here was pretty uneventful, a couple of sprinkles, but you could really notice a difference as soon as we crossed that bridge from East Point over to the island. And there was a little bit of rain, and the wind was picking up, the surf was picking up. If you take a look behind me, you can see that it's definitely the surf is picked up, and I can tell you right now in the past 10 minutes, it's definitely getting worse. The beach has been pretty quiet, and the people have been out of curiosity. A few people out at some of the businesses that are open. There is a convenience store open, a restaurant is open, the gas station was open. We even saw a family from Chattanooga that was out here, and they've now gone back to their home with the weather picking up the way that it is. Coming up a little bit later, we're going to talk to some of the people that have decided to stay out here and tough it. We even saw some surfers. Now, perhaps that's not such a smart idea, but they were out here with their surfboards. And Dinesh will be up in just a few minutes as well to talk about some of those evacuations. And we're going to continue to stay out here and keep you updated on the conditions and have more on the locals and the preparations they've been making coming up at 5:30 and 6. Live on St. George Island, Jackie Slater, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Jackie. As Isaac creeps towards making landfall, the Red Cross prepares to help.
The organization has set up its headquarters in the capital city. Eyewitness News reporter James Buckley joins us live with a look at what they're doing.
Yeah, thanks, Angela and Andy. I'm here actually at the Northwood Center right outside the Florida State Department building, where earlier today the Red Cross had their mobile units in the parking lot. Now I believe they've taken them back to their headquarters located off of Capitol Circle. But right now there's nothing really going on at this moment. There were mobile units here talking to people in preparation of Tropical Storm Isaac, bringing winds and possibly even rain. Flooding area is a possibility. But now, because of the threat of heavy rains and potential flooding from Tropical Storm Isaac, the Red Cross chapter here in the capital city has opened up 2 shelters, one in Liberty County at the First Baptist Church in Bristol. The other one, Florida High, right here in Leon County. That's a shelter just for disabled people, disabled people to help them out at that point. And if you're looking to help out, there's an easy way to do so. If you actually do so, you can go by using your mobile phone and texting the word Red Cross to 90999. That's 90999. Text the word Red Cross. That'll automatically send a $10 donation to the Red Cross area to help any victims or potential victims here of Tropical Storm Isaac. We'll have much more on the Red Cross's impact throughout the evening in our news shows. Reporting live in Tallahassee, James Buckley, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Thanks, James. Many Franklin County residents have boarded up their homes and are headed for higher ground.
Eyewitness News reporter Dinesh Broom continues our team coverage from the coast. Dinesh?
Yeah, guys, we're now being told that the bridge to get to St. George Island has been shut off. So that means that anybody trying to get onto the island, they would be stopped and then asked what their purpose is on the island. And if you don't live here or work here, then more than likely you'll have to go ahead and turn around. Now, that is because of that mandatory evacuation for Franklin County, for St. George Island, Alligator Point, St. Teresa, mobile homes, and low-lying areas. And that's really because they're mostly concerned about flooding at this point. I heard Mike talking about it a little while ago. The big thing that they're really concerned about would be the flooding that could possibly come to the area. Now let's go ahead and show you a little bit of what we're seeing out here. I know Jackie went ahead and talked about it, and it really has been picking up a lot since we got out here to set up for this live shot. We were kind of hanging out wondering when we would start to feel any of the effects, so we've been feeling them lately, but a lot of people have decided to kind of stick around on St. George. You know, I saw people filling up their gas cans, but most of those were actually for generators. They weren't necessarily trying to skip town, and that's because a lot of people say they're pretty used to this. You know, they kind of expect to end up getting some sort of tropical storm weather at some point during the year. So for the most part, they say that they are prepared. They're going to stick around, and so are we. We'll be here for the rest of this evening, and we'll be here tomorrow to keep covering this for you. And coming up in just a little while, you'll hear from some people who have been going out to buy those supplies and from a hardware store. For now, live from St. George Island, Dinesh Broom, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Dinesh. We've been focusing on Florida's response to Tropical Storm Isaac, but what about South Georgia? Eyewitness News reporter Ames Yates looks at what has authorities in Lowndes County standing by.
The Lowndes County 911 Center gets roughly 700 calls every day. During bad weather such as Tropical Storm Isaac, that call volume can double. So when is appropriate to call 911?
Well, it's always a difficult question because to the person that's making the call, it may really be an emergency, although it's something that it may be routine to the ones at the 911 Center. If you feel threatened, if you have something that you feel is a safety issue, by all means call. That's what we're there for.
They're not there for weather updates, which the county says accounts for a number of 911 calls. In the last few days, Tropical Storm Isaac has shifted west, but that doesn't mean citizens can't be ready.
What we want to stress is that regardless of the forecast, you need to be prepared. You can go to ready.ga.gov, and there are plenty of checklists there for your home, your business. There's an opportunity for kids to do their own emergency plan. Sign up for Code Red.
Code Red is a free alert system that began in 2007 and will text as well as call citizens with any weather emergencies in their area. In Lowndes County, Ames Yates, WCTV Eyewitness News.
There are a number of ways to stay informed about Isaac and all things related to it. You can follow us on Facebook at WCTV.tv, on Twitter at WCTVWX, or hashtag WCTVPinpointWX, or on our website, WCTV.tv. Stay tuned to Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of Tropical Storm Isaac. We'll have the latest on closures and evacuations, as well as around-the-clock updates on our website and complete coverage in all our newscasts.
A weekend traffic stop for the Florida Highway Patrol ends with one man dead in our area. Witnesses say the man who'd been stopped by troopers got out of his car with a weapon. Eyewitness News reporter Garen Flowers tells us how it all happened.
This road behind me is US 90 in Suwannee County. Portions of it were closed off Sunday because of a shooting with the Florida Highway Patrol, resulting in one man's death. It all happened Sunday afternoon around 1:30 p.m. Witnesses say a man driving a truck was swerving down US 90 between Wellborn and Live Oak. An FHP trooper pulled the man over. That's when locals tell us the man got out with a gun. They say the trooper shot and killed him. FHP officials confirmed the shooting was with one trooper and one suspect. The suspect was taken to the hospital but died from his injuries. Lundy Lane, right by the incident, was shut down, and people were rerouted around parts of 90. At this time, the name of the suspect and FHP trooper have not been released. FHP officials say the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating. We contacted them The only information they would give us is they assisted on the scene and are investigating.
What if we come out in our front yard and somebody decides to shoot at us? It's unsettling, very.
An FDLE spokesman says there's no timetable on when the investigation will be complete, but we will continue to follow it. In Suwannee County, Garen Flowers, WCTV, Eyewitness News.
Now, we do have calls for more information into the Florida Highway Patrol and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. We'll bring you those details as they come in. A shooting over the weekend ends with one man dead and the shooter with a gunshot wound.
That shooter faced a judge this morning. Eyewitness News reporter Angelica Alvarez joins us live from the Leon County Courthouse with the details. Angelica?
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Andy. I'm here at the Leon County Courthouse where this morning a judge denied bond for 26-year-old Raynard Ford. Now, Tallahassee police say on Saturday night, Ford and another man, Devon Bruton, got into a fight, supposedly over a woman on Holton Street. Witnesses tell police that the two had relationships and children with that same woman. Arrest papers show Ford approached Bruton in the parking lot and pulled out a gun. After a struggle, witnesses say they heard one gunshot and Bruton fell to the ground. When police arrived on scene, they say Bruton was already dead. Witnesses then led them to Ford, who was taken to Tallahassee Memorial Hospital for a gunshot wound to his left elbow. He has since been released and charged with homicide, carrying a concealed weapon, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. He had been convicted for possession of cocaine with intent to sell. He was sentenced to more than 4 years in prison for that crime. Now again, Ford was denied bond this morning here at the Leon County Courthouse. In an hour at 6, we'll tell you what his attorney had to say about that ruling. Live from the Leon County Courthouse, I'm Angelica Alvarez for WCTV Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Angelica. Coming up, college students headed back to school today.
Find out how one university is using technology to help students navigate their way around campus.
Coming up in today's Health Alert, a new study shows your health can be at risk if your spouse suffers a heart attack. I'll have the details next.
And you're taking a live look out over the roadways in Tallahassee. Many of us have seen the rain at some point today, so make sure you give yourself a few extra minutes on your way home. New research shows if your spouse suffers a heart attack, it may also be detrimental to your health.
And a certain scan proves to be the most effective way to predict heart disease. Gina Patici has the details.
Hello everyone. In today's Health Alert, people whose spouses suffer a sudden heart attack have an increased risk of anxiety, depression, or suicide. That's even if their spouse survives. The study found that men were at greater risk for those conditions than women. Researchers suspect it's the unexpected nature of a heart attack that causes an extreme impact on the spouse. If your partner dies suddenly from a heart attack, you have no time to prepare psychologically for the death, whereas if someone is ill with, for example, cancer, there is more time to grow used to the idea. The study has been recently published online in the European Heart Journal. Also in today's Health Alert, a specific scan may save your life. Doctors at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center found a heart calcium scan is the most effective way to predict heart disease in patients who are currently classified at intermediate risk. The test uses a CT scan to detect calcium buildup in the areas around the heart. Doctors say they still need to evaluate costs and risks associated with radiation exposure. For more on these stories, log on to WCTV.tv. And for today's Health Alert, I'm Gina Patici.
Pinpoint weather, coverage you can count on, with meteorologist Mike McCall.
Good afternoon, everyone. And as we told you at the top of the broadcast, still a tropical storm, but getting close to that hurricane strength, and we may start to see some of that much anticipated intensification during the next 24 hours. But no big change in the track of that. Now, there are still lots of interesting sidebars to that as far as our weather is concerned. We've obviously had a mostly cloudy, breezy, but not really a windy day. Some occasional gusts to 30 miles per hour, but not really heavy rainfall either. Again, some occasionally heavy showers, but they've only lasted a few minutes since they are such fast movers. Unfortunately, the center is just about to move completely out of radar range, so until the central Gulf Coast radars can pick it up, we may not be able to see if an eye is forming on radar, but we'll keep watching satellite. Now, the enhanced satellite view, we continue to see these big blow-ups of convection, but they just can't quite wrap around. They started on the northwest side and then moved to the west and then down to the south, but we don't see it completely wrapping around to form that eye. The one main feeder band has been well to the east along the east coast of Florida. Now, it's not likely that one's going to affect us. That will likely kind of work itself out, if you will. It's going to gradually dissipate. Doesn't mean that still won't have some heavy rainfall and a threat for severe weather over that way. But we have this dry slot kind of on the east side, and that will be in and out of our forecast the next 24 to even 48 hours. So that's the kind of the big fly in the ointment as far as how much rain falls because of this water vapor loop. You can see a noticeable discrepancy between the moist air over the Gulf and then the stuff along the east coast. And this dry air, this little slot, could occasionally be across our region. So while we may stay cloudy and breezy, the rainfall forecast is definitely a little more iffy. The official forecast from the National Hurricane Center, winds now to 70, moving northwest to 12. Notice it could become a Category 2. There's a real good chance, in my opinion, it could become a Category 2 because the pressure has started to drop rather quickly. Sometimes the winds take a little longer to respond. The inner core of this storm still just hasn't quite got its act together. If that happens, it could explode into a very dangerous hurricane and at least be a Category 2 as it heads toward the Louisiana coast. Still about 340 miles or so to the southeast of New Orleans. The warnings for us, we still have the tropical storm warnings in effect along the coast. Now, we're not expecting to see much in the way of sustained tropical storm force winds. They are possible, especially once you get offshore just a little bit along the coast. I'm looking more on the line of, say, 20 to 35 mile per hour winds with some tropical storm force gusts. Now, that still could create about a 2 to 4 foot storm surge, but not the Dennis type of storm surge. We're talking a minor surge. Nonetheless, there could still be some coastal flooding from that. So residents from Taylor to Jefferson, Wakulla, and Franklin counties need to prepare for, again, a 2 to 4, maybe even a 5 foot surge. That is the surge plus the tide. So above your normal tide, you could have a few more feet. Rainfall. A flash flood watch has been issued for a good part of the area because of that potential. Now, what likely happens with these kind of systems is you get these feeder bands that line up, so you may get several inches of rain in, say, a 10 or 15 mile diameter strip, whereas east and west of that you get very little. But because we can't pinpoint where those bands might develop, and we've got that dry slot out there, you may end up with some areas only picking up ½ inch, an inch or two of rainfall. Some might pick up several inches of rain, but the potential is there, which is why that watch has been issued. Low to mid 80s temperature-wise. Yeah, the breeze is out there, but not overly strong. Still on average around 10 to 15, perhaps 20 miles per hour. Obviously gusting a little bit higher than that, about 20 to 30 miles per hour. That won't change much tonight. It'll be a breezy night. It'll be a breezy to sometimes windy day tomorrow. The rainfall hasn't been particularly heavy. You can see all kinds of little small groups of showers occasionally zipping on by. And while there have been a few claps of thunder, it's mainly just been some of this showery weather. The bigger picture, we'll just have to watch out for if any of these bands form and how this dry air interacts with that. If any of those feeder bands form over us, that's where we might also have a slight chance for some severe weather. Isolated tornadoes are certainly possible with a landfalling tropical system. As we move into Wednesday, you could still see that dry air kind of interacting with the occasional feeder band, and so we'll keep the rain chances high and also keep that slight chance for severe weather on Wednesday as well. Tonight, good chance for the occasional showers. Cloudy, breezy, muggy, some mid-70s to around 80. Tomorrow will likely stay in the mid-80s. Typical tropical system, I'd probably go 100% chance of rain, but because of that dry slot, there'll be some areas that might miss out on any meaningful rainfall. But there are still good chances around on Wednesday and Thursday as Isaac makes landfall, gradually kind of works, rains itself out well to our west. But for us, certainly dodging the big part of the system, which is fine with me.
In the meantime, though, we do have a few school closings, so make sure you check out our website, WCTV.tv. We have all of those listed there.
Sam Lane joins us now with sports, and Greg Reed starting to fit in at Valdosta State.
Yeah,
right?
and we know what he can do defensively. We know what he can do returning punts, but will we see him on offense this year? Find out after the break. And plus, it's game week for the Florida State Seminoles as they turn their attention to Murray State next in sports. Welcome back, everyone. No one likes a Monday unless it's the Monday of the first game week and then everyone's happy. Florida State will open the season this Saturday against Murray State. So that means at practice, the Noles can devote all of their time to preparing for the Racers. Murray State is a FCS opponent, but don't think the Seminoles are overlooking them. Their head coach, Chris Hatcher, is a proven winner. He won a Division II national title with Valdosta State. After 3 weeks of training camp, Florida State is just eager to hit somebody in a different uniform.
Been pretty fortunate as far as injuries go. Had a few nicks and knacks, but for the most part, pretty good camp, very physical camp. I think our kids are ready to play. I think we're anxious to see another opponent.
They're a good team. We can't take them lightly. Obviously, they're not, a big name school, but we know they're going to come here with, the opportunity to win. It's great for those guys, so we have to be ready to play.
1 month ago, Greg Reed was preparing for his senior season with the Seminoles. Now he was spending his last year of college football as a Blazer. According to head coach David Dean, Reed is mixing in well with the defense, picking up on the system without any problems. Now wearing number 24, the same he wore at Lowndes, Reed is also expected to make an impact on the offensive side of the ball.
You'll see. There's no question. He's so good with the football in his hands. Obviously he'll be returning kicks for us and punts for us. But yeah, he'll once he kind of gets a good feel of our defense, you'll start seeing him slide a little bit more onto the offensive side of the ball.
And we'll hear more from Reed Thursday night in our 1-hour college football preview special beginning at 8 o'clock. That does it for your Live at 5 Sports. Andy, Angela, back to you guys.
Sam, thanks a lot. Well, straight ahead, FSU, FAMU, and TCC all started back to school today.
Find out what new courses are being offered in the new facility being opened at FSU just in time for students.
Thousands of college students hit campus for the start of the fall 2012 semester today.
New and returning students began classes to find new buildings, services, and features. Eyewitness News reporter Lenitra Bennett fills us in.
It's the first day of school at Tallahassee Community College for Charles Wilhite.
Oh no, it's a much better environment than my last school. Larger, more students, more friendly student body.
TCC is offering a new associate's degree in health information technology. The classes allow students to understand what it takes to convert paper records to electronic.
This is an amazing opportunity. There will be, I think through 2028, there are jobs still going to be opening up. So this is just one of those things where you know you're in the right place at the right time.
A new wellness center at FSU has opened just in time for the 2012 fall semester. It has multiple classrooms, expanded healthcare services, and a fitness and movement clinic.
It's a wonderful opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We hope that FSU is very proud of this facility for many decades to come.
At Florida A&M University, there is an app for that. With FAMU's new mobile application, you can have all access on or off campus.
I use my cell phone for everything, so I think it's very convenient for me.
FAMU is also offering a new business degree program. In Tallahassee, Lenitra Bennett, WCTV Eyewitness News.
Straight ahead, Republican convention goers in Tampa have a way to take out their frustrations.
See the creative way they're taking a whack at frustration next.
Well, the folks at the Republican National Convention have something new to help them cope with the stress of it all.
When delegates look in their registration gift bags this week, a new product called Damn It Dolls will be available for them to use. They can kick, throw, or do whatever they want with it.
Well, ahead at 5:30, we'll have the latest on Tropical Storm Isaac and where it is headed.
And of course, I'll look at on satellite, radar, the forecast for all the conditions coming.